Okay, practice test 38, game 1. A car drives in the center ring of a circus, and exactly 8 clowns, so clowns Q, R, S, T, V, W, Y, and Z, get out of the car one clown at a time. The order in which the clowns get out of the car is consistent with the following conditions. So this is going to be an ordering game because we're literally putting them in order of how the clowns get out of the car. So our clowns are Q, R, S, T, V, W, Y, and Z. And they follow the following constraints. Okay, so number 1 is V gets out at some time before both Y and Q. So we have V, and it's going to get out of the car before both Y and Q. Cool. All right, rule number 2. Q gets out at some time after Z. So I'm going to go ahead and how I would simply write this one is just Z gets out before Q, like Z before Q. But since I already have Q in my diagram right here, I'm just going to go ahead and add it by adding another little variable or another little dash and say that Z goes before it. So I just want to point out, do we know anything right now between the relationship between V and Z? At this point, just after rule number 2, no. Because there's nothing on the left side of them. So I just wanted to point that out quick. All right, rule number 3. T gets out at some time before V, but at some time after R. So it's important here that it's almost like there's a comma. There should be kind of a comma here just for our reading. So we're saying that T gets out before V, but we're also saying T gets out sometime after R. So both of these statements are in reference to T. So T gets out sometime before V. So I'm going to go ahead and come down here and put my T gets out sometime before V. But T gets out sometime after R. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. So T. So I know that R comes before T. So we have R and T. Okay. Rule number 4. S gets out at some time after V. So that just means after V, which we already have right here. I'm just going to go ahead and add another line right here and say that we also have S getting out after V. Then I'm just going to make this Y a little bit smaller. Okay, and then our last rule, R gets out sometime before W. So R gets out sometime, I'm going to go right here and just say R gets out sometime before W. So the big thing to pay attention to on these ordering games, which we have our little diagram here, is pay attention to the variables that don't have anything to the left of them. So our variables that don't have anything to the left of them would only be, for this example, R and Z. There's nothing over here. So that means that there's nothing constraining them, like nothing that has to go before them. And we also want to pay attention to the variables that have nothing to the right of them. So for example, we have W, we have Q, we have Y, and we have Z. Because if there's nothing to the right of them, that means that there's nothing constrained, like nothing that has to go behind them. So all of those could be last. The other thing that we want to pay attention to is are there any floaters? So this means, are there any rules that that there isn't a rule about? So we in our diagram already, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have rules about all 8 variables. So there is no floaters in this game. They all at least have one rule about them. So now we can go ahead and just dive into our questions. And how I do them is I read my first rule and then I cross off any answer choice that is contradicting it. So this one says V gets out sometime before both Y and Q. So I'm going to look and see, do we have V getting out before Y and Q? A works. B does not because we have Q before V. So I'm going to cross this one off. C works. D works. E works. Cool. 2. Q gets out sometime before Z. D, A does not work because we have Q last. We can cross that one off. C works. D does not work. And then E, oh, sorry, I reread that one wrong the second time. This says Q gets out sometime after Z, so we're looking for ZQ. So actually, A works, so it goes ZQ. C does not work because it has Q before Z, so I'm going to cross that one off. D has Z then Q, so that one's good, and then E is good. Now we're going to do 3. T gets out sometime before V, but sometime after R. So really what we're looking for is this rule right here. If you are still struggling to draw out rules, essentially what this one looks like is T gets out before V, but after R, so it's RTV. So I'm looking for that in my rules. A does not work, so I'm going to cross that one off. D is good. E is good. Rule number 4 is S gets out sometime after V. So we're looking for this rule. If we struggle to draw our rules, this is just meaning V then S. And D is good and E is good. So I'm going to go on to rule number 5, which says R gets out at sometime before W. So we're looking for something that says R and then W, which D does not work. So that leaves our answer with being E. All right. Number 2, which of the following could be true? All right, could it be true that Y is the second clown to get out of the car? Definitely not, because look at all of these clowns that for sure have to come before it. So that is not going to work. So we're going to cross off A. What about R is the third clown? I don't think this one's going to work because R has to go in front of all of these, and the only one that could potentially go before R is Z. So the latest that R could be is second. All right, see, Q is the fourth one. I don't hate this one because this has Q has to be behind V, Q has to be behind T, and Q has to be behind R. So I think it could be fourth. Oh, wait, just kidding. It can't be because Z has to be in front of it too. So that would mean the earliest that Q could go is fifth. So I'll cross that one off. S is the fifth one to get out of the car. I like this one because S only has to have V, T, and R in front of it. I'm not going to try it out yet. I'm going to just go on to the last one and see if I can cross it off. V is the sixth one. So can V be the sixth one out of the car? I don't think so, because if we look here, there's only 8 cars total, and we know for sure that S, Y, and Q all have to be behind V. So if we were to draw it out of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we were to put V6, which would be here, you can see that there isn't room to put S, Y, and Q all behind it. So that's why E is going to be wrong, and D is going to be our answer. If we're still nervous about selecting answers, you can see that S or how D is correct, because if we were to try it, because we're like, oh, we're not sure, if we were to put S in fifth, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how this could potentially work is we know that V has to be in front of S, so does T, so does R. We could put Z in first potentially. We know that Z has to be before Q. We know that R has to be before W, and then you could put Y, and this is one possible scenario of how S could be fifth. Not the only one for sure, but we could try it out and even see that it works to guarantee that our answer is right. All right. If Z is the 7th clown to get out of the car, then which of the following could be true? So this is saying like, hey, what could possibly happen that we know like it is a possibility? So if we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and Z is the 7th, what do we automatically know from our little diagram here? We know that Q has to be last, right? And there's actually something else that we know here, because we're paying attention to what could possibly be first. The only two variables that can be first are R and Z, because everyone else has something else that has to go in front of them. So we're going to go ahead and just write this R in here. All right, so let's see. R is the second, what could be true? So R is the second clown car to get out of the car. No, because we already know that R has to be first. So we can cross this one off. T is the 4th one to get out of the car. I don't like this one because there's a lot of things that have to go after T. If we were to try it, we would just put T right in number 4. And what is everything that has to come after it? V has to come after it. S and Y. Well, there's nowhere for all of those 3 to fit, so that doesn't work either. So we can go ahead and cross that one off. W is the 5th clown car to get out of the car. So if we put W in 5th, this one, it doesn't have a lot of constraints, so there's probably a really good chance that this one's going to work, because it just has to have R in front of it. So if we did fill this one out, we could go R, T, V, S, Y, and it definitely works. So this is probably going to be our answer, but we can go ahead and try the other ones for practice. On the test, I would probably select it and just move on. But V is the 6th clown car to get out. So if we were to put V here, sorry, we already had Z and Q down here. Can V be here? No, because we still don't have room for S and Y. We need to have room for S and Y to come after them. So we can go ahead and cross that one off. What about Y is the 8th? No, because we already have Q down there. So that just reaffirms that our answer is C. All right, 4. If T is the 4th clown card to get out of the car, then which of the following, ooh, I love must be true, must be true. So if T is the 4th one, which of the following must be true? So this one's kind of tricky because we need to think about what all has to happen. So we need to somehow find 3 clowns that can come before it. A lot of people think, oh, well, I know that R can go. And a lot of people remember that Z can go. But a lot of people forget that W can go before T too. There's no relationship between W and T. So in this front half here, we could have R before W, and we also can have Z. So that means that the rest of our variables have to come after T, which they do. So what's the first one to come after T? V. And then between S, Y, and Q, it doesn't matter which one goes in which order for 6, 7, and 8. So R is the first clown. Must it be true that R is the first clown? No, because it also could be Z. So we can cross that one off. Z is the second clown. No, because it also could be W. W is the third clown. Nope, because it could go potentially R, W, Z. Must it be true that V is the fifth clown? Ooh, I like this one because do we see how that we have V in fifth and it is solid and it is here? What about Y is the seventh clown? Nope, because remember, these could go in any order. There's no relationship between these three variables. So that one is pretty easy for us to cross off. And so our answer is going to be D. Okay. And then lastly, if Q is the fifth clown to get out of the car, so if Q is the fifth clown to get out of the car, so I'm going to put Q right in number 5, then each of the following could be true except. So this means that 4 of our answers could happen and 1 could never happen, and we're looking for the one that could never happen. So if Q's in fifth, we need to pay attention to what else can we fill in quickly. And so we're looking at Q here. Well, there's 3 things that for sure have to come before it, right? So we know that R, T, and V all have to be here. But what else has to come before Q? Z. So if these 4 all are coming before Q, what does that mean about these other variables? Who are they? So we know that S, Y, and don't forget about this W up here. These all have to come after Q in no particular order. So could Z be the first clown to get out of the car? Yep, we could put Z here, no problem. So we'll cross this one off. T is the second one. Yep, T could go here, no problem. V is the third car. Yep, once again, we could put V here, no problem. So we'll cross that one off. W is the fourth clown. No, see, we could not put W here. There's no room for it. All 4 of these have to take up these 4 seats. So this is probably going to be our answer. But let's try the last one just to be sure. W is the 6th clown car to get out. Yeah, we could put W, or we could put Y here because it doesn't matter what order between these. So then our answer is going to be D because W cannot go here how we have it. All right, I hope you found this one helpful.